Good morning, everyone. We've had a painful day today because I was an idiot to start with and then nothing worked. So we just switched to a new stream and apparently it's now working, which is great, finally, especially since we teased this quite a bit and I didn't want to, you know, lose your interest much. We teased this quite a bit, and I wait, wait. Now YouTube is catching up. That's great. That's awesome. Obviously, no one's actually here now because they were on the old one and probably getting tired of waiting. It's a wonderful day. But hey, technological failures are not something that doesn't happen in all system red. So we have that in common. What about that segue? Wasn't that great, Nicki? Oh, Jesus.
But we're here now.
Yeah. By the way, for all of you who are new here, my name is Alina. I'm a fiction author. This is my website, and I do this collaboration with Nicki every month. We have a read along, and then on the other month we have a genre talk, and they're paired together. And thanks for being here. And yeah, that's it. Nicki, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So for those who don't know me, my name is Nicki J. Markus. I'm an author and editor, and I post on YouTube about writing, editing, reading, and just all my other fangirly things.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. By the way, if you give me a second, you actually have, hi, Alina, thank you for switching to here. If you give me a second, I'll actually update the what do you call it? The description so that you can actually subscribe to Nicki's channel, which you definitely should, because her stuff is great. Oh no! Now I'm pressing the wrong buttons because why not? Oh, brother.
You'll have to bear with us all for a second because we're all just sharing our new links and things. So yeah. We will actually start talking about the book in a second.
Yeah, I've been using this for so long, and now all the people on the other link are going to probably hate me because, you know, it's like, you're not there, Alina, you're not there. God damn. Well, it's been an interesting morning, let's say that. But I'm kind of excited about this conversation. I'm excited about the book. I'm excited about the whole series. So yeah, that's the mood I want to try to get back to once I'm, done fixing all the mistakes. So what happened was that out of habit, I created the event for this in on the YouTube site, and pretty much StreamYard doesn't work like that. So you can't go select a pre-existing what do you call it? A pre-existing, what is it? Event.
I guess, event. Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. You can't create a pre-existing event and then select to stream it to StreamYard. It doesn't work like that. I don't think the paid version works like that either, which kind of sucks. But anyway, and I created it as I usually do because I've been streaming a lot this year and only did it like that. And I thought, well, we have OBS, we have Discord, it's going to work. The problem was I didn't realize the Discord browser version was so tricky, and there was just no time to download and install the app now. So we couldn't connect from my app to the browser Nicki was on. We just couldn't connect. We tried Skype, that didn't work either. I couldn't hear Nicki at all. So yeah, it was great. Also, by the way, if you're running the Windows Store version of Skype, you can't use it to stream because apparently Microsoft blocks it. But if you're looking for a workaround, just shove it to the other monitor and just do a display capture, and that works. The problem is you have to figure out how to turn the dual screen in Skype, which I failed to figure out in due time, probably because I was kind of going insane too. Uh, so yes, let's get back to the freaking book.
Yes. Well, this one was your choice. So do you want to do a bit of an intro, Alina?
Yes. So All Systems Red is a sci-fi novella by Martha Wells. It was published in 2017, and it's the first in the Murderbot series, which was supposed to be 4 books at first, because the 4th book had the tagline that kind of hinted it was the last in the series. But now there's another one coming out, which is great because it kind of ends a bit on not on a cliff. It's just like there's more story there. So yeah. I'm not sure if this is Martha Wells' first sci-fi. I know she wrote quite a few fantasy novels and a series, but she's a spec-fic author, so I'm guessing she's interested in both. It's an adult science fiction, by the way, although I don't know if it has any adult themes other than, crappy corporations and mass murder. But
yeah, it's not sort of an adults only kind of deal.
Yeah, but I mean, compared to the Hunger Games, it's kind of tame. So
yeah.
There's that. It could be much worse, in other words. By the way, I read it before we decided on which sci-fi book we were going to read. And I read it. I listened to it because I had an audiobook. And then I re-listened to it for this talk because I felt like I needed a refresher so that I wouldn't confuse events in later books with what happened in the first one. So second listen, still 5 stars. It's okay. I'm still in love with the series, and Murderbot is like the best anti-hero ever, because I feel like the main character is a bit of an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Well, he's the most caring anti-hero I've ever heard, unless he gets distracted by, TV shows. Well, their version of the future of TV shows. So a little bit about the plot of the book. Our protagonist is a sec unit, so a security unit. He's a sort of I call it an android.
Yeah.
He's not a robot. He's a sentient being, but he has limited autonomy, supposedly, because he has a governance module, and he provides security for a team of scientists who are on an exploration voyage on some remote planet. And obviously things start to go wrong, and it becomes harder and harder for our friendly murder bot to keep the fact that, he hacked his governor module a secret. And that's pretty much the premise. It can only go down from here in terms of what happens to his team, because the book is great now. It's awesome. I love it. So, any initial thoughts, Nicki?
Sure. So, I mean, as some of you will know from if you've been watching our previous streams, and Alina knows, I'm not a big sci-fi reader. I'll watch sci-fi on TV, film, but I don't read a lot. And what tends to put me off is that big sort of hard science of chapters of science talk, if you like. So I sort of approached this one a little bit hesitant, but when I picked it up, I liked how slim it was to begin with. So, I mean, we should say it's kind of novella length rather than a big fat novel. So, it's kind of like this big. And it's a very light read in many ways. Not to say it's lacking substance, but it doesn't have a lot of long-winded, chatty explanations about the science and anything. It tells you enough for you to follow what's going on, but it doesn't spend pages and pages on loads of physics details and things. So that really appealed to me straight off. And I think what I liked was that right from that first page, we get a great sense of character from Murderbot as the narrator.
Yeah.
Just from those first few lines, you get a great sense of who he is and what this story is going to be like. And I think that works really well, because I just had a smile on my face from that first page, and I wanted to like him right from the start.
Yeah,
so that definitely drew me in.
It's so because in the start he just explains how he hacked his governor module, and since he was busy watching, I forget the name of the show, which is annoying.
I don't think I can remember.
Something with Moon, I think. Oh, Nicki just disappeared, so I'll chat with you. Okay, there we go.
Sorry, I just disappeared for a second then. I don't know what happened, but I'm back.
It's fine. It's that kind of morning. So
It is.
Sanctuary Moon. That's the name of the show.
Yes, that's it.
It's. I mean, I would like to say that I don't understand, but I do. It's very relatable how he's so addicted to TV series, he can't be bothered to be a proper murderer.
Yeah.
By the way, he doesn't really want to kill anyone. I should say that from the start. He just he just doesn't care much. Like, as long as he has his media content and people listening to him don't force him to talk about emotions. Everything's fun, and he's really, really awkward when conversing with humans who don't treat him like a strict piece of equipment. He is kind of treated like that by the company because he's on inventory. He rides in the cargo, which it's sad, but he prefers it that way because as much as he loves humans on the entertainment feeds, he can't really deal with them very well.
Yeah.
By the way, there might be spoilers. I'm sorry.
We'll try not to do any big ones, at least without warning you, but a few things might slip out as we chat. Yes.
Yeah, but it's a very addictive series because they're short and sweet, but you just want to know what happens next. And I was happy enough that all 4 books were available when I started this series, because otherwise I would have gone insane. And now I do not like the fact that I need to wait. Like, I don't. Also, I hope the 5th book is not the final one. Like, if this series is gone forever, I'd be happy.
Well, this is going to be the first longer one, I think, as well, isn't it? So it's going to be more novel length as opposed to the novellas of the first 4, from what I seem to be seeing.
Yeah, I didn't look much into it. To be honest, I just know it's coming, and I try not to make myself more impatient by looking for details on it. That's my approach right now, which is as healthy as it can be in my case. So yes. What I wanted to discuss a bit is something you mentioned, that there aren't any lengthy tech and world explanations, and I feel like they're really well embedded in the narrative. You only get what you need when you need it. There's a reason for everything Murderbot explains.
Yeah.
Like when he explains how the company works, it makes sense in the story. All those details about the company spying on everyone and their business tactics that don't exist. They're very financially driven. Let's put it like that.
Yes, the polite way of saying it. Yes.
Yes. Monetary inclined. Yes, I feel like that's a good way to put it. And it's always things that you either need to know, or he needs to tell them to people around him, or it's things he just discovered. Like
Yes.
when he interacts with the first ship. Turns out he said something like, "It turns out transporting ships also like entertainment fees."
Yeah.
You get a sense of every machine in that universe having a bit of a personality.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not sure how far in the series you are, but there's a clear distinction between machines and how smart and fast they are. Because
Mm.
later on, you meet a ship that's a total asshole in his opinion. So,
Yeah, I've read 1 and 2 so far, and I've got 3 on request at the library, but it's out at the moment. So when it comes back, I'll get that one.
yeah,
So, but yeah, in book 2, he meets another ship, who's very different from the first one that he meets in the first book. Yeah,
that's a ship that plays an important part. I forget the acronym he had for it, but
yeah.
because
It wasn't a polite one.
no, it's not.
um,
It was. I mean, that's very typical of Murderbot. I mean, he
yeah.
doesn't trust anyone, especially not machines, because
Art. Something to do with
yeah,
asshole research something.
yeah, asshole research transporter.
That's it.
That's why he calls him Art, which is fantastic. And I also find interesting that Martha Wells finds a great way of giving you insight into the world. Like, it doesn't have to, the book doesn't have to explain to you that there are sex bots in the universe. All you get is Murderbot saying he's really proud of not having any sex parts, and because he's not a sex bot, and that's one of the reasons he doesn't like humans staring at him, because he's not a sex bot. So that's how you get a sense of the world and what people do with technology. And you realize there are these really advanced beings that are used as equipment for whatever purposes, none of them good, and a lot of them might be quite sentient. They might have no choice about it, but they still know who they are and what they want, and it's oftentimes not what's happening to them.
And it's usually TV shows.
Yeah. TV shows, like it's awesome. Like whenever Murderbot needs to have a timeout and relax, he just cuts everyone off and watches his shows, which is amazing. He's so human, while being so adamant about him being nothing like the humans.
Yeah.
Which is a very interesting thing to discover. And I really like the action sequences as well.
Yes.
Because they're well done, they're plausible, and they're kind of gritty sometimes. At least when he fights other machines, they're super gritty and very real. And there's also like the humoristic aspect of it, like all the humor he peppers throughout the entire story. Like even when he's in the middle of a very tense situation where he could just be, torn apart and never brought back online, still find something funny.
Yeah.
And the moment he drops his pretenses and starts interacting with others as himself, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
It's definitely a book where you find yourself laughing out loud. I thought I'd be lying in bed reading, and I'd suddenly like burst into laughter, and my husband would be like, "What's going on? What's happening? What are you doing?"
And the level of not caring Murderbot sometimes displays, it's absolutely fantastic. He's like your average corporate worker who does a half-assed job, like enough not to get into trouble, but he doesn't care beyond that. Because at a certain point, his team that employed him were like, wait, you don't know who we are? They didn't tell you? And he was like, I wouldn't want to tell them I didn't care. I mean, I had a file on them downloaded. because I didn't care. And it's just terrific. I mean, my job would be boring as well if I knew more than everyone about security and nobody would give me a vote.
Yeah.
And most often you have to keep your clients from murdering each other, which is great. So yeah, and you deal with company equipment that is about to fail at any point. Like it's not a question of if it fails, it's when it fails and how badly. So yeah, it's a very interesting existence. I'm thinking if there's something I would like to say didn't impress me much, or I didn't like, or I take issue with. I have one thing. The number of books already out. I don't. I just go through it, and especially on audio, I think the voice they chose was spot on.
Right.
And I don't know. It's just perfect. It's the perfect blend. Like I had no idea of how else Murderbot would sound, but it's perfect. It's the perfect mix of petulance and I better than you attitude. Like also a lot of cringe and awkwardness.
Yeah.
All mangled together and Murderbot.
So Alina's sitting there, everyone saying, "Why is it not May yet?"
Yeah.
So perhaps we should be telling everyone read the series, but don't start it until late April. So that by the time they've read the first 4 books, the new one will come out.
I mean, it's January. If you do one
It's
a
not
month,
long.
no,
It's not long.
Like it's 4 books for 3 months. I mean, you're set. You can start now. It's fine. And if you finish the series and the 5th book is not out, you can always reread it. It's even funnier the second time around because you pick up on which they amused you, but now when it's a reread or a re-listen, you just go like, huh, nicely done, well played. But I agree with you. If you've never read sci-fi or you don't enjoy it much, this is a good way to jump into the genre. And I mean, I kind of liked it that it kind of plays into some sci-fi and space opera kind of tropes, but kind of turns them around and makes them...
it just has fun with them a bit.
Yeah, because you still have the ragtag crew of people who are like down on their luck and everything is malfunctioning and they have no backup and they have to deal with stuff. But they're so different from any other crew, and you don't have a captain who doesn't care or who's disgraced. You have something completely different. And even as an android or an AI sort of unit, Murderbot is very, very different. Because the author didn't shy away from feelings. Because at that point, if you're that advanced and sentient and you've been around people for so long, it's kind of hard to think you wouldn't develop some sort of emotions. So I liked it that it wasn't like a Data kind of android where he can mimic emotions but not feel them.
Yeah.
I think this goes the other way. It's like he has a tough time handling his emotions, and he always shows them on his face, which is why he likes his helmet and his armor, because people don't see him. And when he wears the armor, they don't realize how human-like he looks. Because but it was really interesting. It's like the cringiest person and the most socially awkward you can think of. That would be Murderbot. And
Well, perhaps one thing we should mention is that this is a name he's given himself. He's not actually officially been called Murder Butt by anyone in the crew or the company. That's just a name he has allotted for himself once he became sentient. And
the thing is, they don't have names, and Murderbot to him was something very private. He's upset when it's revealed that's his name.
Yeah.
He sees it like the most horrifying breach of confidence and of privacy, which is strange because at some point the company had access to all of his data. Like they could see anything. Everything he did was recorded. He used his own recordings to go back and watch himself do stuff and figure out why people reacted in a certain way. But the name he gave himself, that was private. And I think only in book 2 and 3 it's fully revealed why it was so private. Which I'm not gonna get into because it was spoiled too much. It's hinted at in the first book. Why he decided to hack his governor module, why he became an independent player, and it's then later explored in future books.
Yeah.
And that's. I can ramble on forever. I should let you talk. Jesus. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just loved it so much. Yeah. Was there something you didn't like, by the way? Because I said I don't find anything like that, but I never asked.
No, I don't think nothing that particularly jumped out at me. I mean, once I got to the end, I did kind of wish it had been a little bit longer. But that's just similar to you going, I want to keep reading kind of thing. But no, there wasn't anything in terms of the writing style or the way the story was put together, anything like that jumped out at me that I didn't like. I think it all worked really well together.
Yeah, and by the way, I'd like to mention that I would have liked it to be longer, but not because this story needed any more space. It didn't need anything. Like it worked perfectly, but I just wanted more.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I immediately jumped into the second book and so on. So, yes, that's what's going on. But just a brief message. Alina, if you're still watching, thanks for joining my group. You should have some questions automatically sent. Please answer those so that I can approve your membership. If they don't show up, just let me know. Sorry, I have to say that because Facebook is a bitch sometimes.
Yes.
And it's been that kind of morning. Now you expect it. Did we discuss? So we discussed how it fits into the tropes. I mean, I think the world building itself is kind of a result of doing a lot of world building in your career, because you have to do that for fantasy. It's clear this is not a first attempt at creating a world, or I don't know. It's well thought out. I've not read the other books. I found them and I saved them for later, but I haven't gotten to the fantasy books as of now. I'm curious to see how the world is built, but it was really, really organic to the story, which I think if you're doing any kind of world building as a writer, this type of book is something you really, really should check out. Because you'll just learn a lot, I think. I feel like whenever you know how to do things in theory, the best way to learn how to adapt that to practice is to read books that do it really well. It just works better than anything else, like any cross book read. Just see how it's applied. And I think this one was one of my favorites for that. There's nothing that's out of place or there just to, for the reader's sake, which I find that a lot. Because you can tell when there's a lot of exposition and the character waxing lyrical about some piece of equipment they probably grew up with and they wouldn't even notice.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't go about my day checking messages on my phone and going, "Oh my God, this is such a cool piece of technology." I do so much. I stay in contact with all my friends and take selfies and 10 million photos of my dog. Like, you know.
Yeah. I think the difficulty with world building for fantasy and sci-fi in general for authors is that if you spend ages creating a world, whether it's in your head or detailed notes, you kind of want to feel that effort was for something and you want to include all those details because you think, well, if I created them, everyone must need to know them. But it's not always the case. You can get by with just what you need in order to understand the story and the characters.
Yeah, because how it usually happens, you always know more about your world than anyone will ever know. That's pretty much the rule. So not all of that needs to make it into the book. If it doesn't make sense in the story, it's fine. Just store it for later. If a different story in your series requires it, then you can tap into it. But otherwise, it's like you don't need to. You don't need to do that. And it's seamless to read. It's not seamless to write. I have to say that. It's hard to not get caught into exposition. And it's not because it's sometimes because you get just so fascinated with the world and you start exploring it on paper and don't delete it.
Yeah.
Which is where a good editor is great because they'll go like, yeah, cut all of this shit. Nobody cares. Remove it, please. So if you have an editor who does that for you, maybe when you're going through your own stuff, just think of their face when they if you think they just crunch their nose and go like, what the hell is this? Then cut it out. That's my rule of thumb. Also, watching a lot of cinema scenes helps.
Yeah.
I guess because you pick up on a lot of stuff that nobody cares about. It's like, and I think I might be wrong, but I feel like these days movies, like big blockbusters and American movies in general, do that more than books do. There are a lot of things there just for the viewer's benefit.
Yeah.
They make no sense in the story. There is no need for that much exposition and for that much explaining. Endgame had an entire, oh my God, they had lengthy conversations trying to explain how time travel works in their world. And it was better disguised than in other movies. It still made no sense. It's fine. And still nobody cared.
You mean it's not like in Back to the Future, Alina? Let's break off into a lengthy discussion about time travel.
I mean, if you go with the feeling in the room with people being that much desperate, nobody would have cared. And let's face it, Tony Stark, since when does Tony Stark think of consequences? Like, okay, you went through a dramatic thing and it was painful and whatever. Let's face it, that doesn't completely alter your personality. Clearly, no. So yeah, and it's great to see it less and less in books. And what I've noticed is if you watch movies from any other side of the world, they're not that dumb. So I've recently seen Akira, which is also sci-fi, and it's a very old animation movie made in Japan. They don't explain shit. They just throw into that world and you just follow the characters and piece things along the way, which is a great way to talk about it. it's an excellent way to go about it because you don't need to know everything about the world when the story begins. You don't need 10 pages of exposition. You can just dive right in and figure it out as you go along. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was refreshing in that regard, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I definitely learned a lot from it as an author. I enjoyed it as a reader, and I feel like I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to implement that more. So far I think I'm succeeding, but we'll see because I've been kind of writing mysteries more than anything these days. So and another same thing. It's easy to pretend like everybody knows what's going on in that world because I'm contemporary. They do. But I think that would be like a good assumption. Like if you wouldn't add some detail in a certain point in a contemporary story, then don't add it in a sci-fi or a fantasy one.
Yeah.
That would work. Would you go about your day explaining how phones work? No. Then maybe don't explain the weird thingy device that displays text in front of your eyes. Just say text popped in front of your eyes from thin air and it flew.
Yeah.
But it worked fine. So like you said, you're on book 3 now, waiting for that.
Yeah, waiting for book 3. Yeah.
If you've already read the book, we would love your thoughts on it in the chat or in the comments post stream. We always love to talk about it. Be warned, you might want to keep reading. And for those of you with a Scribd subscription or Scribe, I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that.
Yeah, however we pronounce it.
Fine. All audiobooks are on Scribd at this point. So you can listen to them with your Scribd subscription. So that's awesome. They're also available everywhere else because it's a wide book. It's published by Tor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah.
So now all we have to do is wait for the next one. Any interesting details that caught your eye, Nicki?
I don't think so. I think what really worked for me best in the book, if I had to pick just one thing, is Murderbot as a character. Aside, just setting aside the sort of story and the sci-fi elements of that, I think what really made me love the book was the way he came across. That's definitely was the highlight for me.
Yeah, I think it's a great example of a very character-driven story that has a plot that's not convoluted.
Yeah.
Nor just there for filler. And I really love the supporting cast. They all felt very well developed, even if they don't necessarily get a lot of development time.
Yeah.
But you get a sense of how that team works, its dynamics and everything else, and everyone's personality. Because I think they have the team function as well, and that's more emphasized in the book than individual personalities. But then you don't feel like you can't tell these characters apart.
Yeah, I did think that worked well because I did definitely get a sense of who they were, even if they weren't on page much. Whereas sometimes I'll watch things. I can't remember. I was watching a sci-fi film not that long ago. I wish I could remember what it was, but it was again, you're on a ship, so there's a whole crew cast, and I honestly could only really remember 1, maybe 2 of the characters. All the rest kind of just like they could have all just been each other, and I wouldn't have noticed. I couldn't remember the names. Couldn't really record anything about them the day after I'd watched it. There's only really 1 or 2 of them that stood out. And I think that book, as you say, did that well, that even though we don't get to spend a lot of time with them, we do get a sense of who they are. And when they come back, you remember how they fit in the group. And
yeah, that's so true. And I think it was, the cast was diverse without trying. It was kind of interesting. Because you had anything from humans to augmented human to murderbot, different sorts of partnerships, Murderbot has some insights about how multi-partner relationships work from previous missions. Get a sense that this team is different, these people are different, and the way he explains it is mostly through his own realizations, because he doesn't know much about them. He just notices their odd behavior compared to other people, like they're trying to murder each other, and there's no bursts of anger and jealousy. And then when it comes to their planet, he mentions that their planet works differently because so taken aback by it, not because they're exposing. So yeah, it was nicely done. Like everyone had a very distinct personality without a lot of work, which is impressive.
Yeah.
I always say if things seem seamless, it takes a lot of skill and work to get there. Because I have the same sense, like if you see someone who's really good with watercolors, for example, they create an entire painting in like 15 minutes and it looks awesome. And it gives you the impression that it's easy until you try and you figure out, no, it's not, but those 40 years of experience kind of help you. And all the hours of work you put into it help. I'm not now that you need 40 years of writing experience to write something this good. I'm just saying, when it looks that seamless, it's usually not that easy to achieve. But hey, first things first, I have to shout out the person who introduced me to this before I go any further. And that would be my good friend Adrian, who just said, check out this book, you'll love it. And then 4 books later, I was like, oh my God, this was great. I'm so sad it's over. And then he was like, what do you mean over? Well, that was the final book. And he said, no, bitch, here, brother. Goodreads link. It's coming. Okay, great. So he doesn't usually explain much when he recommends books. He just gives me links.
Right.
And says, you'll love it. And then I do, because we've known each other for books. But yes. And I mean, it's lighthearted while it delves into very serious topics. And I didn't cry all the time, which was great. And I got attached without feeling so awful about everything happening all the time.
Yeah.
It's still, there are awful things happening and you figure them out quickly. Like, you only take a few words from Murderbot to realize how horrible his life was until he hacked his governor module, how little control he had. But it's not a fear fest, which I kind of find really refreshing. Because the series I loved before these, the sci-fi series that just caught my eye and stayed with me, I cried my eyes out. And those are great. I'm not going to say they're not. And I'm referring here to Red Rising and then the Taking Shield series by Anna Butler.
Yes. Yep.
But those are like, sometimes they're so gut-wrenching, it just needs a break. And they stayed with me. I love them. They're some of my favorite sci-fi series of all time. This one drove the point home without being such a heavy read, which I appreciate. And it's not a feel-good read either. Like, that's not how it works. It's just a bit lighthearted, and I think it does humor relief well. That's honest, by the way. He loved the book too, apparently. I'm sure that's what he's saying. Okay, so now that this book is done, I realized we were supposed to announce our next read.
Yes, and we haven't done it, have we?
The problem
We're
is
so naughty. This is what happens when you have holidays, people.
Yep.
Well, I think our next category was tentatively going to be mystery, so we can tell you that much at the moment.
Yeah, we have to postpone that because we decided to do Claire's first book in the Charlie Davis series, which is rewriting, and the rewritten version.
Right, in that case, we may be doing historical next and then mystery.
God. Oh, no, I don't want historical. I don't know why. Okay, historical. Any recommendations?
I think I put one in as a suggestion. Let me have a look. The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton.
Okay.
So Alina and I will confer, and we'll confirm that later for you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what my problem with historical is. It's like that. I'm particular about it, and I don't like it when it breaks the rule of history. Also, I'm very particular about my historical romances. Like most of them, I do not enjoy. But
that one's not too much of a romance, so that might suit you. It's not a big romance focused book, so that might be a good one for you then.
Can you tell me the title again, so that I
The
can
Miniaturist.
just pop it in? But it's true. Okay. Foster?
Jessie Burton.
There it is. Oh, it's also on script in audio format. I can do audio.
Perfect.
So there we go. That's our book, The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. And after that, this will be our March read-along. We'll be back in February with the genre talk conversation. I can't remember what genre we're talking about.
It's going to be transmedia. We're on transmedia now.
Right. Transmedia, which we'll talk about then. And we'll be back in March with a read along. Like I said, that's our book. I'll pop the links in the description to both Scribd and Amazon, and you can find it wherever you like. And we'll announce the date of our next stream at some point at the end of the month. I'm thinking, not saying, because this time we don't have any holidays. Again, apologies for all the shit going on today. We'll do better in the future. Definitely next month, because Nicki's setting up the stream and she used StreamYard like a normal person, not like yes. There you have it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about the book or any comments, anything to share with us, do let us know. Also, maybe let us know if you want to join in the read along. Sorry, and talk about the historical read next 2 months from now. It's not next month. Sorry. I'm still in a weird mood, like still kind of in my holiday mood.
Yeah, semi-holiday mode.
Whatever else is present within me is freaking out about everything I'm supposed to be doing. So this is what you get, people. Before we wrap things up, anything you'd like to share? Things that are happening soon? Things we're supposed to come up?
Not masses. As Alina and probably most of you will know from previous streams, I'm looking to re-release the Ragnarok Chronicles at some point this year. And also a few of my older shorter sort of long short story novella type pieces as well. So I don't have any dates or anything yet, but it's potentially happening during 2020. So I will let you know about that on social media.
It's fine. It will happen relatively fast because I'm nagging her, and I'm what do you call it? I'm starting work on the first cover for an story, so there will be something soon, maybe in February, Valentine's.
Lovely Alina has offered to help me with the covers and formatting and that, so she'll push things along as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because
what about you, Alina? What have you? I know you've got a lot happening for the year. Watch Alina have a breakdown on live YouTube video.
No, I'm at that point. Like I have a minor breakdown every 5 minutes, so it's fine. It's manageable. So I have a few things coming out this month. Hopefully, they're happening. So two of them are supposed to be out Monday. So the first box set in the all
Right.
investigations mysteries should be out this Monday. I've already done the cover. It's proudly displayed in my author group on Facebook. If you're not part of that small group of people who get the first shot at everything I do on Facebook, maybe you should join it. I think there's a link in the description. It's mostly where I talk about my books, how I'm doing, things I'm watching, fun stuff. With my author group, like that should explain it. And by Monday, I should also have the pre-order for Our Investigations book 4 out.
Excellent.
I'm working on the cover today, but I'm having serious issues with the blurb. Like I spent
Right.
2 to 3 hours on it on Friday. I sent it to my boyfriend for some feedback, and he gave me some feedback, and I improved it. And at the end of the day, I realized I have to scrap it and start all over again because it's crap. I'm hoping that maybe I'm more inspired today. If not, I'll just have a blurb. That's not the most horrible thing the world has ever seen, and update it later because that has to be out on Monday too. Because I've been doing it for like a month and a half. So yeah,
Right.
At least the cover creation part is fun for this series, and I'm also working on the final 3 Just Don't books that will wrap up the serial.
Right.
They're all written. I just need to edit them, and that's taking way longer than it should. But depending on how I'm done, they'll start coming out either at the end of this month or sometimes next month.
Yeah.
I'm also back to streaming twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays, as you guys might know. And I also do art streams every Saturday. You can watch me on Twitch or on my YouTube channel, the other one. Yes, my life's insane right now. It's fine. And in the middle of that, I have to manage a lot of doctor appointments for both myself and my boyfriend. It's great. Absolutely fantastic. It's fine. I'm fine. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can feel better about myself. Also like this stream if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe to Nicki's channel as well so that you don't miss out on her content and the other side of the genre talk coin that happens on her channel. And I'll try to be better about these streams and do a video announcement. Haven't succeeded so far, but I'll try my best starting next month. So thank you guys for watching. Nicki, anything else you'd like to add before we sign off? No, we're good.
I think that's all. Yep.
Hope you all have a lovely Sunday. Again, apologies for the massive delay in starting the stream. Apologies for switching link locations for the video. We'll do better in the future. It's fine. Bye.